Good evening and welcome to Pretty Petty Politics. I am with the amazing Amanda Edwards,
Hi,
who is a
everybody.
candidate for Congressional District 18.
That's correct.
So, welcome to Pretty Petty Politics.
Thank you for having me
We're in the
on.
kitchen cabinet,
We're in the
even though it's not
kitchen.
no kitchen.
It's kind of living room.
We got some order, but it's not a kitchen. But we'll make it work. So I am very appreciative of you making it tonight. I know all of you all have very busy schedules. You literally just came from a forum, literally in Third Ward. Luckily, I don't live far out, so we're 20 minutes away. So we are happy to have you with us. So it's saying Facebook. Okay, just my personal page, so that's fine. We'll reshare. So hey, while I do this, while we make these updates, why don't you all go ahead and share this content? Go ahead and share. And Amanda, if you want to share to your social media pages, you can share from Pretty Petty Politics.
Okay.
And we will go ahead and get started. So my first question for you is,
I'm ready.
You ready?
The drum roll.
It's the easy one.
Okay.
It's the one I've been using since 2018.
Oh, okay.
Tell me about your very first time voting and what that experience was like.
I came up in an era. I know as young as I look, I'm not quite.
We've been voting a long time.
I've been voting a long time. So I was voting in an era where there were things called, simple chads and things.
Yes.
So, back in the day when it was Bush v. Gore and all of that kind of, brouhaha stemmed from the election. And I just remember thinking, wow, how wild it was that it was having to go to the courts.
Yes.
And oh my gosh, how is this going to change how
I'm not much older than you. That was your first election?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Lord.
Yeah, it was.
I'm
So,
old, y'all.
and so it was very exciting.
It was.
But it was also, to me, that was unnerving. And now look at us.
Mm-hmm.
So then we go.
We
from
wish
that,
we had some hanging chairs.
Come on now.
we wish we had some hanging chairs.
And so now we have gotten to an era where we've got January 6th and all of these other crazy things that, unfortunately, this next generation is becoming the normal way of thinking about our politics. Is crazy.
Yes.
And we didn't actually start off that way. Politics used to be a little more boring. It was. I mean, a little bit.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
Not as polarizing.
Exactly. So
scary as it can be today.
So now you got to tune in to see what's really going to, are we going to be safe today kind of thing.
Yeah. So your first election was the presidential election of 2000, Bush and Gore.
Yeah.
So tell me, did anything about that election propel you to want to be a part of politics, or when did that political desire happen for you?
It's kind of a mixed question. I think I was always interested in public service and policy, and I know it's a weird thing.
No, it's not, because I'm like that. So
so it's like, what would you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it's like, I want to get in. But it actually is a serious story that happened when I was growing up. My dad was very sick. He got diagnosed with something called multiple myeloma. He died from it when I was a teenager. So when I was growing up, things like insurance were real words in our house. And so I had to learn what that was based on what was happening to my father.
Right.
And so I remember asking my dad, what would happen, because I remember him needing, life-saving treatments, things like that. And I remember him, when I'd ask him, I said, well, what if they say no? Because he was getting experimental treatment and different things. And he would just say, well, we would just have to figure something else out. And I just knew that wasn't the right answer.
Right.
The right answer should have been
there should have been an
system in place that helped in a situation like that.
Yeah.
And we don't have a system in place that helps people. We don't have a system in place that saves lives. We don't have those kind of systems. So when I was young, I thought, that's really crazy. And it just kind of has always been something that has motivated me to create systems and systemic change in ways that really think about the people whose lives are really counting on you to do this.
Yeah.
And so there are families that, in my case, my father was able to get the care that he needed.
Right.
It extended his life expectancy by double.
Oh, wow.
And so he still passed,
Passed.
but I think about the extra time we had with him because of the fact that they said yes. But they could have just as easily said no. And that would have been a wrap for given his prognosis. So that just kind of gave me at a very young age a very serious appreciation of what government and policy is supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think over time, my interest in politics, I've never liked politics. I know this is a weird thing to say, but I still don't like it. But I love the policy. I love serving the people. I love having an impact.
You love the opportunities that come with it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
To help people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But let me trade this for that, and let me trade the interests of the community away so I can get ahead and get that community appointment. That doesn't do it for me at all.
Yeah.
What does it for me is somebody having their confidence in government being restored.
Yeah.
Or people really saying, I didn't think anybody was going to care or do what they said they were going to do. And so kind of getting people back into the fold and inspiring them to want to continue to participate. I think that's one of the most rewarding aspects of this work.
Yeah, because engagement is huge.
Yeah.
So tell me.
And we know because a lot of people stayed home during the presidential.
Girl, and they're staying home across the country, even in local elections.
They're staying at home.
I've been using Birmingham as an example quite a bit. Now, I'm happy with the outcome. Don't get me wrong, the mayoral outcome, I am, because that's my friend. Yeah. However, when I look at the number of voters that participated, that is indicative of the attitudes of U.S. citizens right now when it comes to voting. Are we apathetic? Do we even think that our votes matter, or is anything going to change? So let me ask you. Let's go back into time.
Back into time.
All right. So tell me about young Amanda. Tell me about Emory University Amanda. Tell me about her and what your vision was. Would 18-year-old Amanda have dreamed of Amanda in 2025?
Oh, 18-year-old Amanda was like a force.
Okay, let's hear about her.
She was just, probably more intense than I am now.
Tell me about her.
Intense. She was on top of her stuff. She was keeping her grades right. She was involved. She was going to make a difference. She had her goals. She was focused. And she was, wherever she was, whatever that was, she was going to really try to make a difference. I was involved in my college campus. I was involved in a lot of things. And so I ultimately got inducted into Emory Hall of Fame.
Oh, wow.
So I was very, very involved. I was president of my college, but there was a lot of stuff happening when I was a student. We had controversies based on race, a lot of that. And I would say I'm pretty proud of her because that version of me back then, because I recognized that it was important to use those moments to have an impact on the broader community. You can, have situations that were protests and things, and TV crew comes, and you can make it an isolated moment, or you can really say, these are our demands, and these are things we want to see happen on campus.
So you've been fighting?
Yeah, I've been in the fight.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was a great experience for me.
Okay. Yeah. So like you, I left home and went away out of state to college.
Yes.
Except for you came back home.
Yes.
I have probably lived outside of my hometown now longer than I lived there.
So
I left home at 16.
What feels?
Home is home because that's where my mama is.
There you go. That's
but Houston is my home.
Yes. Yeah, so right? When you came back, it didn't feel.
So even when I moved back to Houston, it was like, okay, I'm safe. This is a good place for me. Yeah. But what brought you back to Houston? Because I know the opportunities were plenty for you in Atlanta. You went to one of the most prestigious universities in the country, Emory, and then you also went to law school at Harvard. So instead of staying on the East Coast or in the Mecca that is Atlanta, why did you want to? What drove you back to Houston, and why have you just? And this is. I know we love Houston, but why did you come back to Houston? So because so many people, when they do go out away and they're successful, they don't go back home.
Yeah, absolutely. And my whole purpose and, my purpose, I think we all have a purpose here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my work and my purpose is mine is tied to impact. And so to me, what sense did it make for me to be in a space, stay on the East Coast with my friends or whatever, and everybody thought alike, said the same things, really, we're rowing in the same direction. And if your goal is to impact change, and that's something that makes you, it's the skill set that you have, then aligning with that might mean you got to step out into your out of your comfort zone and be in a space where everybody doesn't think like you and everybody doesn't have the same opinion and everybody might have a different viewpoint. But if you're going to be impactful in ways that are meaningful, that's exactly how to do it.
Yeah.
Is in those spaces. And so that's kind of how I saw it. I took a little detour. So I didn't come straight home after I graduated law school. When I was in law school, Hurricane Katrina happened.
Yes.
And so I watched it on TV just like everybody else, but I decided I was going to move to New Orleans. So I moved to New Orleans after Katrina, and I had a federal clerkship. So I got to do that as my job. And because people always say, well, did you have a job? And I said, yeah. So I was clerking in federal court. And then I started a program for kids, teaching them how to use writing as a tool of empowerment post-Katrina. So like their stories and their experiences, let's use this as an opportunity in terms of the powerful narrative you now have as a result of the adversity you face. So we were working on poetry, personal statements, you name it. We were doing that work. I absolutely loved it. I had a really rewarding experience in terms of the clerkship. And then I was doing this with these kids that was making a real difference in their lives. So I almost stayed there. But eventually said to myself, okay, Amanda, go home, give it a shot. You're having a wonderful experience here. Who's to say you won't have even more of a wonderful experience when you go back home? So I said,
you can always go back home.
And that's exactly. So I went back home and I said, you're going to have to be just as invested in this experience as you just were in New Orleans. So give it a fair comparison. And I came home and, never looked back. It was, I got involved. I was working in a big law firm environment. Mm-hmm. So that was tough, balancing being an attorney in a big firm, but then still wanting to be really civically active and engaged. And so I just had to figure it out and do it. And so it was a really great experience. And then eventually I got that, decided to make the leap. But as I said, I don't love politics. So for me, it was never like something, it was always a mixed bag kind of love-hate moment for me in terms of, okay, you really ready to deal with that? Are you going to be ready to deal with that? Are you ready for that? So
what year did you come back from New Orleans? How long were you there?
I was in New Orleans from 2007 to 2008. Came back, interestingly enough, I was there because of Katrina. Then we had to be evacuated because of Hurricane Gustav.
I remember
and then Gustav happened. So I came home and I had like 2 weeks left of my clerkship. And so I had to come home. So I said, well, I might as well bring some of my valuables and important papers and things home because I'm going to be moving. It's a storm. Let me bring that home. It makes sense. And so then we finally got to go back into the city. I was wrapping up my work, sent my stuff, sent most of my stuff home. And here comes another hurricane in Houston. So I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on now? So I'm in between hurricanes and my stuff. They're not answering the phone. I said, oh, Lord.
Oh, Lord, it's a fire. So let me
That was actually one of my favorite little sayings.
Listen, this is a good segue.
Okay.
I'm glad you mentioned these storms. Yeah. We are in the middle of hurricane season.
Yes, we are.
So now we're going to get serious, but we're going to go back to having some fun too.
Okay.
But we are in the middle of hurricane season. And I wasn't expecting us to talk about Gustav and all that, but we're without a member of Congress to advocate for us and have been. We've only had a member of Congress for 3 months in the last 13 months.
It's wild. When you do the math of Congresswoman getting sick and passing away, Congressman Turner passing away, the delayed special election, the fact that we're going to have a runoff for this special election.
We're not having a runoff.
Okay.
My prayers are strong.
Okay.
My prayers are strong. Okay. It's going to be a decision in November.
Decision. Okay, we're going to say decision in November.
We got to speak it because,
we got to speak it,
yes.
We got to. Okay, so if that were to happen, that would be a period of 18 months for the district total with no representation. That's wild. And like,
because we only have three and a half months of representation.
Yeah, I
December, January, February, March 5th.
A little bit of, and
a little bit of November.
Yeah, and that's it.
Can y'all imagine that? November of last year, partially. December, all of December, all of January, all of February, and 4 days into March.
March 5th.
And he died that morning, March 5th. Sylvester Turner. So back to the hurricane, then I'm going to go back to Mayor Turner. With it being hurricane season, what advice, and I don't mean like hurricane preparedness advice necessarily, but because you had that experience while you were clerking and it caused you to move, you knew to come home to evacuate. Talk to our viewers about what you would tell constituents during this hurricane season to prepare. I mean, we're enjoying this beautiful weather we're having right now, but I'm like not trying to get too excited because I'm still very aware, very conscientious that it's still hurricane season. What would you tell people 100%. If a storm came in 2 weeks?
Listen, when I was on city council, first 3 years, we had three in the first 3 years, 3 500-year flood events. Tax day flood, April. I mean, we literally tax day flood. We had another flood. I mean, 3 in a row. And
I was moving back to Houston while that was happening.
Harvey,
like tax day flood. I had my interview. People were like, you sure you want to go back to Houston? I'm like, but I was like, but it's the Bayou City. It's gonna flood. Like it's gonna flood.
It's unbelievable. So I was on the ground in all of those experiences, and it has become a deep passion of mine. It is something I've been consistent with regarding not only providing people with the response that they needed in the aftermath of the storm, but recovery is a problem in our nation. We're not serious about helping people to really recover, and it needs to be completely overhauled, but not in the ways that Trump describes, right? Like he's like, oh, gut FEMA, and the federal government should not help states. Instead, leave them to their own devices. Of course, it's absolutely ridiculous in terms of what would the outcome be for our community. But we need to be serious about this stuff, and we need to be investing in the infrastructure in advance so we can keep people safe. I always say the saying, we can't stop it from raining, but we can be prepared to catch it when it does. And that's the role of government. And right now we have not done that very well.
Right.
And we have not kept our residents safe. And people have been floating around on boats and all the other things that have happened. And so it's frightening to people. I would say several things that people should think about during hurricane season. Always, always, always have your water, have your flashlights, know where you're going. If it starts storming or there's flash flooding, turn around, don't drown. And it rhymes and all the things, but it is so true. And you'd be surprised sometimes. I remember when Harvey was happening, I was with the fire chief, and let me back up. So we knew that it wasn't Harvey, the hurricane, that was going to get us. It was going to be the rain would follow. And so we knew that. So everybody got distracted by what was being reported on the news on Friday night. And so they're like, made landfall, we're okay. We made it a little of this, but we're all right generally. And they're like, no. You're not all right. And it's drizzling. So the next day, Saturday, we're out and we're looking at where there's puddling, and we're telling people, do you want to go into a shelter? They're looking at us like we're crazy. And they're like, going to a shelter? It's not even like raining for real. Like, what are you talking about? And we're like, well, it's getting ready to really, really let
loose.
And we're like, it doesn't look like it. And I ruined my whole weekend. And there was some big boxing match that Saturday night.
It was.
Yes. And that Saturday night, so people got caught out in that boxing match. And then the heavens opened, the rain came, and it was just mayhem. Even 911 could not absorb could not fully respond to the need that was happening in concert with that time. I was getting literal messages on Facebook for help, or do you know somebody can rescue my mother-in-law, or this or that,
right?
Whatever. So those are the things that we experienced. So what to do? always have your water, always have your flashlights, have, some snacks, something that you have in case you get caught into an environment. Battery packs, let's keep that with you at all times. I know that sounds weird, but just put it in your trunk. You never know if you'll need those items. And then, any emergency numbers that you might not, you don't know if your phone is going to work. That's another thing.
That's
Those
true.
towers can come down. I mean, it's a lot of weird stuff that can happen. So you just want to have a little kit in your trunk.
And a
little kit in your trunk. And then a flashlight as well, obviously. But keep your flashlight, but do bring the extra batteries. Sometimes people forget that. And another thing, I mean, I'm not going to tell people to bring gas with them, but remember when they were doing that evacuations before and people were running out of gas. I mean, also think about where you are with regard to your tank of gas. You do not want to be driving on E and then a hurricane happens.
Yeah, you see a lot of that in the Hurricane Katrina documentary where people had a quarter tank and they're just trying to get to Baton Rouge. And I mean, you could get from New Orleans to Baton Rouge on a regular day.
Yeah, but not when you're sitting in traffic for 8 hours.
And I can remember Hurricane Rita here.
Yeah.
When I was in graduate school, and I left the day before everybody got stuck on
the freeway.
And people died.
Died.
You have to plan ahead. You have to be prepared. And you don't have to take everything with you. Take the important people and the important documents.
Yes.
Lock the door.
Yeah.
Pray for the best, but.
And you have to, I mean, I'm glad you highlighted that because a lot of this too is about how do you keep the highest number of people safe. So I remember people saying, well, why didn't y'all evacuate, when we had Harvey, why didn't you evacuate? Why wasn't it mandatory? And we look at the casualties there, it was pretty high when, that was not a successful evacuation. And so we had a lot of people die in that situation. So you have to think about what's going to happen.
Because you're comparing it to in the past when you did order evacuation with Rita. And I think we were hypersensitive because Katrina had just happened.
That's correct. And then, and so, and it ebbs and flows. And then sometimes you loosen up and then that was the time you should not. And you should have had everybody evacuate. So it's an ebb and flow, but it's something that I take very seriously. We've got to be serious about infrastructure investment. It's the least sexy topic you can ever imagine. And I talk about it all the time and I've devoted so much of my life to it. Both having been a public finance attorney before I became a city council member. I spent a lot of time bringing public dollars to public projects like infrastructure, not exciting, earth shattering things, but it's the stuff that keeps us safe.
Yes.
It's the stuff that will keep our lives. Save our lives. And so we've got to do better because right now, the way that this stuff all works, people only start talking about this stuff when there's a camera crew in some storm and there's an opportunity for an interview. And we got to get out of the business of doing that. We have to be serious year round, year after year, when no one cares, and you still be the one beating the door down about bringing the infrastructure dollars where they need to be. And nobody should be having to prod you to do that.
Right.
You should just know it's my duty to make sure you're safer than you were before something like a Harvey happened.
Absolutely. All right, let's pivot.
Okay.
I want to have some fun with you.
Okay, so no more intense Amanda.
No, but I got to ask
no more disaster
question.
recovery. Edwards.
No, it's fine. It's fine because I don't say that I like emergency preparedness, but I like emergency preparedness.
Yeah.
Like that's what I wrote about in grad school.
Yeah.
I wrote about that. But let me ask you.
Love it.
I do. I still have the Zello app on my phone. Look, because that's the way we two-way radio people.
There you go.
But let me ask you this.
Okay.
Serious, funny question, but still serious. Okay. What's your superpower?
I would say I'm pretty tenacious. I'm pretty tough. I think people don't see that when they look at me, but I've been through quite a bit. And
she say she'll cut you.
No, I mean in terms of just resilient. Sometimes people can get stuck in the obstacles that they face, and they get stuck, and they allow those obstacles to become permanent. Yeah. And I've just always never
you found your way out.
Every time I'm just resilient, and I work hard. I stay focused. I try to, focus on what needs to be done, big picture, so not just getting caught up in that experience. I understand that there are many experiences one will have, but it's all leading towards a greater purpose and a greater scheme. So I'm a big believer, and I'm a person of faith. So I have that faith that all leads in a direction. So
let's talk about your faith. So you are a member of, you're
Catholic.
Catholic. You're a member. I was trying to remember the church.
Yeah.
Saint Monica.
You got it.
Like I'm trying to get it. You're messing me up. So you remember Saint Monica? That's the church you grew up in on the north side.
Yep.
Tell us about.
You want to say bazaars?
No. It's that time of year, though.
It is that time of year.
Tell me about your faith, though. Talk about your faith and what that means to you, and like growing up Catholic, and maybe one of the strong principles or strong memories that you remember about growing up at St. Monica's.
Yeah, St. Monica is a majority Black Catholic church.
Okay.
And so there are these organizations called Knights of Peter Claver, and they're kind of charity based.
Okay.
And so I grew up serving in those groups, and I was, very involved in leadership, and it's charitable. Like you always volunteering, it's always a service project, it's always something.
Black mamas always put in some organization. She taking credit for it, but I'm gonna tell you,
I didn't have a choice.
Her mama, exactly.
I did not have a choice.
Because baby, they don't give you one.
No, ma'am, I didn't have the choice. So I was involved in that from the earliest stages. So, even from leadership development, like Robert's Rules of Order. I knew Robert's Rules of Order when I was like 5th grade, 4th grade, and so I was like, you don't know Robert's Rules? So I kind of grew up in that environment, but, giving back and serving, I don't know a time where I wasn't doing that. So people always ask me, like, when did you start? And I'm like,
my whole life.
My whole life. And I never knew anything other than that. Mm-hmm. So I just, continue to focus on how do I grow and how do I make whatever community I'm in better than it was before I found it. So I've enjoyed that aspect of being involved in my church family. Our family's been part of that church since it opened in 1960. Wow. And so a lot of history, so it feels like home. Feels like home. I love it. So, and the people, everything, and the people used to pull you to the side, or you talking in church, or whatever you were doing.
Give me that gum.
Give me that gum. How did you know? So that was a thing for me. Give me that gum. So yeah, but I loved it. And so with that organization, it really did hone in your leadership
and development
skills. Skills.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I can only imagine. So tell me tell me, but share with everyone, because there'll be people who watch this and share this. What is your scripture? Like, do you have a scripture that is like a mantra to you?
I would say Philippians 4, 6 and 7. Okay. And just, we all get our anxiety and anxious about things, but we have to give it to God. And not be anxious about things, give it to God. And that's what you have to do.
Girl.
So
give it to God.
Yeah. Don't be anxious about anything.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So before we wrap up, how you
it's
feeling?
Already time to wrap
Girl,
up.
Look, it's 9
this
o'clock.
This is great. I didn't know it was
We got about 15 more minutes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But like, as we get into this last little bit, so I want to ask you some questions about being this. I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. So I'm interviewing who I consider, and I think I'm a pretty good judge of this, who I consider being the top candidates. Mm-hmm. And you've been consistently one of the top candidates in this race. You started running for CD18 Juneteenth.
Let's talk about it.
Juneteenth 2023, right? Juneteenth 2023. Mm-hmm. The primary was March 2024. Mm-hmm. December 9th or 10th, whatever that first or that second Monday was in December of 2023, Sheila Jackson Lee jumped back in the race after losing the runoff for the mayoral election. What was that feeling?
Well, let's go back even further.
Okay, let's go back. Let's take it back, way back into time. Okay.
So
the later it gets, the sillier I get.
No worries. So I was one of the front runners in the mayor's race. For
Yes,
Houston.
you were. So I was trying not to go there.
No, we gotta give a complete.
Okay, let me reintroduce it.
Yeah.
So in 2022.
Yeah, because that's part of the journey.
That's part of the journey.
Yeah.
So in 2022, you were a leading candidate. You and Chris Hollins. I was like, damn, we got these young folks. Oh, this is about to be on and popping. I was so excited. But I also knew, because I live in Senate District 15, I also knew that Whitmire was going to run. And I had been telling people that for years. I was like, Whitmire's going to run for mayor. They're like, he's not going to give up the Senate. I was like, he sends us a piece of mail virtually every other week. Like, that's somebody who has the money to put their name and their picture in your household every week.
Yeah.
So you all were running. People were talking about y'all. They were like, some people were like, who y'all think y'all are? Y'all too young. Y'all haven't done enough. And others were just so excited, like, yes, a change, you know, fresh faces, fresh voices. What was it like when you were running for mayor? This Black woman, millennial, running for mayor of the 4th largest city in the country, and you were getting a lot of traction. How did it feel when your congresswoman entered that race?
Well, it's a little even more complicated.
Oh, damn.
So you're getting here first. I know it's not a news scoop, but it was more complicated because, you know, I had worked for Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee 20 years ago. I worked for her. That was my first job, first opportunity out of school. After I finished Emory, I worked for her between college and law school. So I worked in DC. I learned a lot, and so had a good relationship with Congresswoman and respected her quite a bit. So that's a little bit of the backdrop of that story that doesn't always get told. So when she comes in and decides she wants to run for mayor, it's a very challenging and difficult decision to make. You know, I had really amassed a lot of support and momentum, really had a clear vision of what I wanted to see and could do for the city. I was very clear on those things, and things were going well for us. So I was tough. I spent a little bit of time, you know, really having conversations. I really did not know how I was going to respond to the situation. I spent a little bit of time talking to people, different people, getting their perspective. Everybody was all over the place about what you ought to do. So at some point, you just got to decide.
Yeah.
And so I decided to pivot, and I pivoted out of the mayor's race into the CD18 race with the appreciation that my mission remained the same. Exactly. It did not change at all. It was the set of tools that I would have to achieve that mission, but creating a community where every single person in it, no matter what their background, no matter where they live, will have the opportunity to thrive. That is my mission. So whether I'm using federal funding or using the, you know, mayoral platform, you can achieve that goal. And so the question is, you know, is this, you know, in alignment with mission? And for me, it was still in alignment with mission. Was it a comfortable or easy decision to make? No. Very challenging.
Yeah,
a lot of people are going to be frustrated with you, disappointed in you. Why didn't you do this?
Why do you stand up?
Yeah, you know, all of that.
It's easy for us to Monday morning quarterback.
Oh, everybody had an opinion, right?
I had one.
Everybody had an opinion. And, you know, and this is what we sign up for. So you can't be thin-skinned when they do. So, you know, I don't have. I'm not thin-skinned. So that being said, you know, I got in the race, became the front runner in the race. Things were going well, going all over the district. People were excited. You know, they could see the change, the shift. They were like, I got it. I get it. I like this. And so then, bam, to the day that you described, which is
December 2023.
Okay. And she passed. And that was something that obviously, you know, was not an ideal situation. Never had I ever imagined that we would be heads up one day, having worked for her, having had a good relationship. You know, figure that out before you're out in there running in races. But notwithstanding, that's the way the chips fell in this situation. So we ran our race. I was very proud of the race that we ran. We kept it solely focused on issues. We didn't make it personal at one turn because I felt like people needed to see if we're going to have two Black women in a race, you need to be able to see us run this race in a way that keeps it above board, about the issues and about people and about the ideas.
Keep
and
it
about
pretty,
the
not petty.
There you have it. I love it. So that's what we did. And that's what, that was my goal. And so she won. I mean, universal name ID. What can you say? I mean, there are very few people who have a universal name ID, and she was one of them. Yes. And so she won in the primary. And so just 90 days after she won in the primary, she announces her pancreatic cancer diagnosis. And then, of course, passed away just weeks later. Very, very odd experience for me because
you've had this long relationship with her.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we end up on opposite sides
in a race
in such a public way. And then she dies very quickly. And so it was just a very odd time. And then, of course, we have very crazy laws in Texas. They're not democratic. And so instead of all the thousands of people who just voted for me being able to keep those votes, because they were voting for me for the 18th congressional district for this new term that would be starting in January. Yeah. But none of those votes counted. And we had to start something called a precinct chair selection process.
Yes.
And I gotta take a moment.
Look, that was an August to remember.
August 24th surprise.
It seems like so long ago.
Isn't that weird?
That a year ago.
Literally just a year ago.
Like
literally.
I think.
Isn't that weird?
We've suffered so much in the 18th in terms of loss and trauma, in addition to storms.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's like we haven't had a chance to just grieve.
Correct.
We haven't had a chance to process.
Correct.
And just like get our bearings. And here we are again.
Yep. And then on top of that, we were placed on the chopping block in the redistricting. So we'll put that to the side for now. But
I'm gonna have you. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have you back on here.
Part two.
We'll probably do an October date.
There you go.
But so we get to the precinct election over at Wheeler Avenue.
You got it.
And all the different candidates, precinct chairs came in there knowing who they were gonna vote for. So it came down to you and Turner by 2 votes.
First round, one
vote.
One vote on the first round.
And
so
it
was roll call. So people need to know this too. So you didn't get to do like secret ballot.
Hiding. I was there like, ooh.
So no secret ballot, ladies and gentlemen.
Ooh, this is
like
good.
You literally had to say who you were voting for in front of their face.
In front of everybody.
And everybody, the whole
including Pretty Petty Politics. Yes. We were in there.
And hundreds of people in the room.
Yes.
And so that happened one by one. We were 1 vote apart. And then, of course, some votes got flipped. And
so y'all had the initial race with the other candidates. And y'all were separated by 1 vote, you and Mayor Turner.
That's correct.
And he pretty much had that universal name, that brand, him being the most recent outgoing mayor. And so when that happened, when it was just 1 vote, how were you feeling before they did the second vote?
So I was feeling positive because I knew walking in the room. So we didn't say anything about our support walking in. Like we hadn't released any lists. We knew I wasn't the establishment candidate.
Right.
Let's be clear.
Everybody.
I was not the establishment candidate. I'm not now, and I wasn't then. I'm the people's candidate. It's how I see myself and how I think the community is embracing me in this case. So in that contest, me saying, "Oh, look at my list of supporters," what was that going to help? That wasn't going to help anything.
Right.
I mean, it would probably complicate or make it more difficult, if anything. So we didn't say anything. Walked in and had the support we thought that we had for round 1, knew it was going to round 2. I knew where those votes were for round 2. And because I had been talking to and engaging with the precinct chairs beforehand. We weren't supposed to be engaging with him then until that intermission happened. And then all of the, everything just went fell apart.
Haywire.
Yes. So
I was there.
you were there, you saw it. Okay. So that happened. And so they flipped those votes during that intermission. So we had enough to actually win it, but for that intermission and that opportunity to flip the votes. Had there not been that pause, we could have kept going, and I would have had, it would have been a different outcome.
Right.
But they flipped those votes, and so it was a thin margin. But I congratulated him. I'm not somebody who's gonna take my ball and go home. None of that. So I went over, I think I even gave him a hug and congratulated him and, wished him well in his service. So I think there were some people who were really upset by what happened and what they saw, but I did not want to ever be a poster child of, don't go vote, or this is what's wrong with the system.
This is the cards we're dealt.
These are the cards we were dealt. And if I can still get up here and go vote and organize people to go vote, you can go vote. If I just went through all of this and I'm still out here doing what needs to be done, it's being consistent with, really being true to your word. If you really do care about Kamala Harris winning and having us turn out, creating it, making it about you in that moment, that's just, to me,
doesn't help it.
No. And so I chose to let people say, I don't need to talk about that. And I said, well, I didn't feel like that was the best use. That was not the best use of my time or efforts, and then more importantly, the outcomes that I wanted to impact. I want more people going to vote. So if you sit there saying they don't like young people or they don't want this, all the things that could have been the result of that conversation or people watching that would have been harmful.
Yes,
not helpful.
Let me ask you this. Did you meet with Mayor Turner after that? Did y'all sit down and have like a...
You getting all the tea in here.
Girl,
called the tea.
It's called pretty petty politics. But no, seriously. Because
we actually talked. Most people don't know. We actually talked. So interestingly enough, remember I was telling you about how we had...
you served with him on city council. You were on his city council when he was mayor. So when I was still in the mayor's race, he was one of the people that I talked to about the congressional race. And I was like, listen, what you doing? You're not heads up, that kind of thing. And he said he wasn't interested at the time. So he said that was something, if I wanted to consider something like that, it was definitely something for me to consider. But for him, that was just not where he was. And so I think something changed his mind at some point. I don't think that he, at the time when we talked about that switch, he said he was not interested in the seat. So that caught me off guard as well when that switch happened into the 18th after her death.
Yeah, I was very, very much caught off guard.
Because you talked to him the year before.
Correct.
When you were pivoting from mayor.
Correct.
From the mayoral race to the congressional race, and he was still mayor.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that happened. That caught me off guard. In fact, I found out, confirmed in that information the same day that Biden was making room for Kamala, was the same day I found out that we were going to be heads up in the congressional race.
Oh, wow.
It was like the weirdest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And that was just a little over a year ago.
Yeah, isn't that weird? It's like so much life has happened.
So much has happened since then.
Now you think about the presidential election, that seems so far away. And it's actually, it's not even been a year yet since, he has just gotten done so much damage.
Girl, don't remind me.
Okay, I'm not going to talk about him. We're not talking about him. Not right now.
Not right now. Okay, next question.
Yes.
And we're gonna pivot away from CD18, but I do want people to know that you have been
committed
in this race, committed to this district, to represent this district since June of 2023.
At Juneteenth.
Yeah. Was it 23 or 22?
23.
23.
I got in the mayor's race in
22. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's been a journey.
What a journey. Let me ask you this, and this is one of my tough questions. I'm probably going to ask all of you this.
Okay.
Where we are going to be redistricted.
The
18th is not going to look like it looks today.
Yeah.
Beginning January 2027, right? We'll be voting on who will represent the new district in March and again in November of next year. The 18th, I think most of the candidates, no, I won't say I think most, some of the candidates are going to still be in the 18th.
Mhm.
Some don't even live in 18th today. And some who in other races don't even live in those districts either. Not that you're required to. Article 1
Yes,
of the Constitution
there
makes
you
it
go.
clear, but constituents should use their voices. Do you want somebody who's a part of your community or someone outside of your community? But hey, I'm just a pretty professor being petty. But here's my question. Al Green
Mhm.
has not decided that he will not run in the primary. He's
Mhm.
still open to it.
Mhm.
If Al Green runs in the primary, and let's say you are the winner in November,
Mhm.
will you run against him in March to
Well-
remain the member of Congress for the 18th?
Well, first, let me say we got to focus on the mission at hand, and that's getting across this finish line with the
Okay.
special election.
Okay, fair,
So
fair.
all hands on deck.
I'm saying if though.
Yes.
I'm like Janet Jackson, if.
All hands on deck there. But my commitment for the 18th has never changed. It's been consistent. I have been, serving the district before I was running as a congressional candidate, serving the district as an at-large city council member, not, serving the district without a title, just doing nonprofit work, helping these seniors and other folks. So my commitment to them has remained unchanged, and I do not foresee my commitment to serving this district changing. So it's, particularly if I'm the incumbent as well. So I think for now, I'd like to focus on the special election. There's so much, there's such a lack of information right now. So we get asked that question quite a bit, but the point is we've got to focus on the special and getting the word out so that people know that there is a special this year and that the new maps don't apply to it. That's the confusion. The other part I would say too is that the redistricting is not quite over. So we did pass the legislative component of this fight, but we're now in a court battle.
We're in the courts fighting.
So now NAACP, LULAC sued, and so we're now in court. Now there's a chance.
A case prior to this one too.
Yeah, there's a case that has not been resolved that is pending from the 2020 census that ended up in the 2021 redistricting. And so that case these are long
federal cases. That's out of El Paso. That case.
And LULAC also filed their case over in El Paso as well. There are long, these cases take a long, windy path, but you can get temporary maps drawn and modified maps drawn in the interim. So it doesn't have to be the final adjudication. The final resolution of the case, that you're looking for between now and March. You're not going to get it. But there's a few things that actually can happen. The courts could say, those maps are fine. They're not racially gerrymandered. Who cares? Move on and let's go. They could say that. They could also say those maps are racially gerrymandered. They must be redrawn for the March 3rd, 2026 primary. Or they could say they're racially gerrymandered, but I understand you're not going to have enough time to get this done on time. Sometimes, occasionally, not often, they'll bump that primary back. And so we have seen it happen where the primary got bumped back to May. It's not going to be like, bumped back to like October. Yeah, exactly. So that could happen too. So, and it could be the case that they could try to say that the maps are not good and try to have a whole election around it. But a whole election before fixing it, but that's unlikely. So there's still some avenues. So I don't, I'm tenacious and I'm persistent and I persevere and all of the things. And so I don't take no for an answer. And so I don't think our fight is over at all.
Okay.
So hopefully we will bring us back together, because I hate telling people that they're going to be out of the district and they love this district. This is Barbara Jordan's old seat, Mickey Leland's old seat, Craig Washington's old seat, Sheila Jackson Lee's old seat, Sylvester Turner. And Erica's. Yes. And so people really feel a kinship to it. And that's part of their identity in some ways.
Absolutely.
Yeah, politically.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So would you like to leave the people with any final thoughts?
Besides for go vote for me. I'm serious about this. We just kind of share this. I consider this to be something I take very, very personally. I'm from the district, raised in the district, and I've just seen time and time again, people coming into communities when it's campaign season and then not leaving them with anything to show for it in terms of their lives. And people get disconnected from democracy because of that. When Harvey happened and I was knocking the doors, I'll never forget a lot of the doors I would knock. They'd say, "What are you doing here?" And I'd say, "Well, I'm your city council member. I'm here to help."
Yeah.
And they'd say, "But are you up for re-election?" Couldn't imagine that I just would show up and do my job and not ask for something. And is that really our democracy right now? But it is. Mm-hmm. And so we've got to reverse that trend. We've got to show up for people when there's no camera rolling. We got to show up for people when it's about delivering for them. When it's a campaign, people know the name of the voters, they know their issues, they know where they vote, when they vote, what coffee they drink when they vote. They know it all, right? They forget everything, amnesia, as soon as they get in that office. And then all of a sudden it's a constituent calling, or, and it's like,
well, politicians, this is what I drink. Can y'all see it? So give me some Mountain Valley water when you come knock on my door.
So yeah, they forget about the issues. They're not making the connection between what you say on the campaign trail is what you have to do in government. And so we do a lot of talking and a lot of speaking, but we got to get into the business of a lot more delivering, because people have lost confidence in government. When Karl Rove realized that the Republicans had a math problem, they instantly said, okay, well, we're going to take our fiscal conservatives and we're going to bring in a new group of evangelical Christians. And if we come together, we're going to have enough votes to win. We don't have that same math problem. We got a math problem, but our math problem is non-voters.
They're on the sofa.
They are like, forget y'all.
They're right here with
y'all. I'm on my phone. Yeah. Anybody but y'all. I'm not going to support you. Yeah, you say the right things, but I don't believe you. And we've got to send the types of leaders that people can believe again. Because how? Because they actually do deliver. They actually do show up. That's what this is about. It's not just an isolated seat. People look at this seat. This was a seat. If this had been filled, that big, beautiful bill
would not have passed.
Got passed by one vote. And think about all the horrific impact on people that it has. The $900 billion in cuts from Medicaid and $300 billion from SNAP, graduate student loans. You got capped at how much you can take. I mean, just wild stuff, just because. And yet and still, we continue to play this politics. So I think we've got to put the type of leaders in who are serious and have a track record of delivering. And if you can say, as the young people say, here are the receipts.
Come on, receipts.
And then you can show, and people can say, oh, that's the house that she rebuilt for my uncle. I remember that when she started working on that house. Yeah, we would go by and drive by to see how much progress was being made. These are real stories. Or the small business I helped to support. Or a lady was telling me the other day, you're the reason I got in my home and I get to keep the number of bedrooms that I had before. Things that really make a difference in people's lives. That's what you need to be able to see and then provide to your residents. Pivot points, transformation. That's what they're sending you to office to do. So that's what this campaign is about. That's what our work is about. We're leading in the polls because we're connecting with voters. We're connecting with residents. People know the work. And so while, campaigns can be, a lot of other things, what's most important, I say my name is on the ballot, but it's your future that's on the line. And so if you really internalize that and stop thinking about, I'm doing this person a favor, these seats don't belong to any person. Those seats belong to the people. And that's what we've got to reclaim that
You're
power.
applying for a job.
That's correct. I'm here to work for you.
Yeah.
So we've got to reorient ourselves in terms of what that power paradigm looks like, the line of accountability, but also, just what is it that we want to see? We got to start dreaming again and having vision again. And right now we're in this defensive posture, and then we're not seeing leadership from Washington really give us clear direction and clarity of purpose or mission. This is not the first time our community has had challenges. The whole civil rights movement was during a time when we were not in power.
Right.
So, but we had clarity of mission and purpose. We had a strategic plan when it came to litigation, when it came to legislation, when it came to activism. We got to get back in that mode.
Yeah.
And you got to put the kinds of leaders that are going to take you in those directions.
Yes.
And that's what leadership is about. It's not always just responding. I call it walking and chewing gum. You've got to deal with the problems, and they're going to be abundant and every day. But if you don't have vision, you're never going to be able to move your community ahead. You're always going to be just playing defense. And while defense is key, and I'm always about it, I grew up playing sports, so you play offense and you play defense. But you need to be putting yourself and positioning yourself to be able to really see some opportunities for your community.
To take a shot.
There you go.
There you go.
I love it.
I'm so happy to have had you on here
Yay.
tonight. This has been rich.
Yes.
I hope
And you
people
got
were
all the tea?
Girl, I hope people were able to connect with you and learn a bit more about you. Her superpower is her tenacity.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you one more question,
I'm ready.
but I forgot it.
So that just means I have to
forgot
come
it.
back. That's just
I forgot it. Yeah, I definitely want to have you back in October. I know your schedule is going to be heavy, so we'll just pick another evening.
And let me quiz everybody. I got to give them the dates. October the 20th, the beginning of
early vote. Wait, I got a date before you.
Okay. The last day to register is October 6th.
There you go.
Then October 20th through the Halloween is early
voting.
Mm-hmm. And then election day is November 4th.
Yes.
And I'm number 2 on the ballot.
Number 2 on the ballot.
Yes.
Okay.
We just drew the ballot. So our ballot order.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did y'all do that?
Today.
Oh, wow. Look, I'm digging for all the tea.
All the tea. All the tea.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure to have you as our audience for the replay. Some of you caught it live, but thank you to Amanda for coming out. It's late.
It is.
It's
late.
9:30, but
she's keeping me
she
up past
came.
my bedtime.
Girl,
I'm kidding.
this interview started at my bedtime. But I'm so happy that you were here and that you made the time to share with Pretty Petty Politics so we could learn more about your campaign, hear from you directly. In October, we'll do this again.
Okay.
Not as long. We'll have more of a set conversation, and maybe we'll have some special guests join us from the community come in. So let me tell you about that. So here at Pretty Petty Politics, we do endorse candidates.
Okay.
And in the past, our endorsements have been based on the interviews that I've done and other content that the candidates have put out. And so we have a slate of community members who evaluate and they score. And whatever they come up with, that's who we endorse. And I do that because I make community with people who are running for office. And so I don't want the awkwardness of, well, she endorsed. Now, people still don't think I endorse, but and I mean, I get it, but I actually do seek out people from all walks of life, married, single, parent, not parent, homeowner, renter, like intentionally, so that it helps them engage, and then it helps them go out and engage other people more because now they have really studied the candidates. So when I have you back in October, some of them may be a part of this. Some of them like to stay in the background, but some may be a part of this to ask you questions. So I thank you for your time. This has been great.
Thank you for having me.
And come back anytime to the kitchen. Oh, I know what it was. So at the beginning, sorry, y'all, when she first got here, I was like, oh, I should have got you a copy of my book. So my hidden talent that people discover is that I can cook. Not that I like to cook.
But
I do like to cook,
but that you can.
But I'm actually good at it. My food tastes good, and it won't give you diabetes. It don't give you high blood pressure. It's just right. Right? What's your hidden talent?
Well, I'm actually a really good cook, but
I cook.
But I don't cook often. So I'm on a campaign trail. It's busy.
I know,
but that is one of my talents.
You like to cook.
I do.
Okay.
I used to love to cook, but
and
now
she's good. She said she's good.
Yeah, but
I might need to have a candidate cook-off.
A candidate cook-off.
Who make the best pot of collard greens?
Oh, well, I don't know if I'm gonna win that one.
Oh gosh.
Sorry.
All right, we're gonna go. Good night, y'all.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye.